This thing takes forever to tell me that it's actually gone live. So like, I'm like, am I live? I don't know. Hi, I'm Mike. Somewhere I think that direction is Nick. He's like far over there. And somewhere over there we have a special guest named Shreya. And here's why. I mean, if we're being honest, Andy Cabasso asked a question this week that I'm going to pull over to really set the tone here. He asked, well, if I can make this do what I want it to do. God, we're having technical difficulties already and we just started this?
I feel like it's user error.
It usually is.
That feels really right. Well, Cabasso asked, not at all relevant to anything you're doing, but do you think that podcasts/streaming live events are an excuse for adult white men to hang out together without feeling guilty about it for some reason? In the impenetrable, bulletproof defense to all claims of racism, some of my best friends are brown. Shreya's here. And a lady. So you see, we checked all the boxes. Shreya, how are you tonight? And what is with your life choices?
They're terrible. My life choices are terrible, per usual. This evening is going well, though, so far.
Except for this part of the evening.
This was pretty stupid.
Except for this part.
As choices go, this one was pretty dumb.
I'm just like a stooge so that two white men can hang out together.
God, there's so much commentary
She saw right through that.
On meetings.
She's seen right through this.
So if you guys have not been here before, first of all, good choice. Second, we have a pretty simple premise. You guys ask us questions, and Nick and I give terrible advice in return. And so what we're going to do is go through some of those questions and give you some terrible advice. We're going to start right here with Lee's question. Can you be sad and eat queso at the same time? Nick, you look like you eat a lot of queso while choking down sadness. What do you say?
Yeah, you happier. So I think you start sad, then you eat the queso, and solves the problem. So that's what I've got on this one. It's a great question.
I think it's really important to point out that within moments of us starting this show, Shreya has dropped out.
Oh, she's done already.
Like Shreya was like, I'm out of here.
She's back. She has returned.
She said,
I went to go get queso.
This is... That was a topical pivot. Well done. Lee, the answer is no. Queso is always good. And Shreya, we're going to see... We've got so much technology going on right now that there's just no way this is going to work correctly. This is not a tech conference. Colin asked the question, and I'm assuming that this is to Nick and I, but Shreya, feel free to weigh in about what you like about us.
Yeah.
That's the only part of this question that matters.
This is Ask Twinsies with Shreya Lay. So It's kind of like she's really keeping it together here.
I would say probably the glasses, maybe, and the fact that you look alike.
Huh?
Yeah.
That really, like, together, I feel like it's greater. It's a greater good than apart.
Do we look alike, though? I mean...
But I'm looking at both of you right now.
Really, though? Do we? Colin wants to know, what do you like best and least about one another? Nick, do you have any comments on that one?
Yeah, Mike, this one's good. Best, I like our looks. And worst, I like our looks.
Yeah, I was going to say the best thing about you is your body, and the worst thing is your personality, right? Keep your eyes up, fellas, okay? I'm not an object, all right? I've got a mind in here as well. Bo asks a question that I'm not even going to... If a guy in a wheelchair is in the forest and he falls out of his wheelchair, do you still hear it? There's no way I'm not going to offend people with this answer, so I'll turn that to you, Nick.
Yeah, so... but I wouldn't go into the forest on my own, on 2 good feet. Why is the wheelchair in the forest, Bo? That's my question. That's a dangerous place to be.
Who put the wheelchair into the forest?
Well, Bo uses... Yeah, Bo has a driving wheelchair, or electric wheelchair that's really fancy, but why? What are you doing in the
I'm not up
forest?
to date on wheelchair technology. I didn't think that they could typically go off-roading.
I think
fly
you're right.
now. They fly now.
Yeah.
Surprised you didn't know that. They all fly.
But the forest is a dangerous place.
Yeah, I feel like there's no way I'm going to answer that without offending somebody, so I'm going to go to the Eggleston's question, which I think is a good one. How do you go about teaching a 3-year-old how to properly slip and slide? Shreya, the problem with having you on this show is that you're younger than us. Do you know what a slip and slide is?
Yes.
Good. So any advice for how to get a 3-year-old to properly go down a slip and slide?
Push them?
I like where her mind's at.
You know, I was thinking that Nick and I, like, our technique is, if to properly use a slip and slide, you need surface area. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's got to glide. So the more surface area, you know.
And you got to just teach the kid by observation. Like, if somebody pulls out a slip and slide, even at my age, I'm going down it. Show these kids how it's done, right? I mean, you got to do that.
I just imagined you, like, jumping on that thing and then just, like, continuing to slide, like, into the house.
Just have to say that we recently, like, very recently, had a discussion about how we needed to construct a slip and slide for our yard. And we have no children, so it's just adults.
I like it.
Okay, clearly our people. We thought we brought somebody in to be the responsible adult. We screwed this up.
No.
Jason asked the question, should cereal be classified as a soup?
No, Jason is a sick man. You know, when he asks questions, you really almost have to ignore him. You can't confuse the two liquid meals here. It's a different genre. It's a different genre altogether.
I don't know. Now I'm wondering about it.
Do you make cold soups?
A soup a soup?
Yeah, do you make cold soup? As soon as I heard this, I was like, well, soups aren't cold. But apparently there are people who make soups that are cold, which I don't understand.
Yeah, there are cold soups, but but I'm gonna err on the side of caution and just say ignore anything that Jason asks.
That's pretty good advice. There was some rando who asked the question. Her name is Shreya.
Mm-hmm.
I recuse myself.
She can't comment on this one.
Shreya wants to know, what should the new I acknowledge you, another human, on the street? What should the new greeting be with face masks on now that you can't, smile or grimace or like, are there other insulting gestures you can do with your mouth? I don't know, to get people to leave you alone. What's the best way to acknowledge people without the...
I think we need to dust off the old chicken dance on this one, and because I think that would be really entertaining if everybody's out there. Hey, good to see you, a little chicken dance. What's your answer?
I don't like to acknowledge anyone on the street.
Mm.
Do you live in Seattle? Because that's the par for the course here.
One time when I was in Chicago, actually, we were at a conference, and I got up at like 6 a.m, and I was walking the street outside where we were standing, and just to piss everybody off, I was like, hey, morning, how are you? Hey, how you doing? It was like you'd have thought, seriously, I was a terrorist, like dropping bombs just along the street. It was awesome. Thank you, Chicago. Johnny asks a really weird question that I think requires both therapy and intervention. He wants to know, God, this guy's married. Husband and wife plan to jump off a cliff together. They count down 3, 2, 1. Wife doesn't jump. Husband does jump, but he has a parachute. Who's the most evil? Shreya, you're a master of relationships with annoying people. Actually, I think Colin's fine. Maybe you're the annoying one. I can't tell. Who's the bad guy in this?
He's definitely the annoying one. Who's the bad guy? I would say neither. I mean, the wife should have had a knife to cut the parachute off before she jumps. Obviously,
she deserves what she gets if she didn't bring the paracord cutter.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't expect that. That was The question was who's more evil, and Shreya was like, well, neither is evil enough, so if we step it up a level.
This does feel like a lot of work
so.
to kill your spouse. Yeah. Like, why are you even out on a cliff? What the hell are all these questions about going outside? You can kill people at home. You can social distance and still commit murder, guys. Don't create levers, different levels of risk by you going out and trying to kill people in public. That's stupid. It's irresponsible. Think of the rest of us.
Fair.
Yeah, and what if, search and rescue had to go out there after that? That's terrible.
Yeah, you're putting others at risk now.
Mm-hmm.
When designing a murder, don't spread COVID. Dennis asks the question, if you're doing a question and answer format on your blog, podcast, or video cast, is it okay to make up questions, make up answers, or make up both? Shreya, you guys have been doing all kinds of videos and social media. Do you ever act like somebody asked you the question and you're just making it up and you thought of it in your bathroom and you're just trying to dussy it up, make it look better?
We did at first. Now we have questions that people ask us, or we just admit that we found the question on Google. Like, Google will have suggested search terms or questions, and we're like, we saw this on Google as a suggested thing underneath our original question, and so we're going to answer that too. That was like a real answer.
That was a real answer.
Nick, what do you do?
Yeah, it depends on how good the question is. Like, if it's a question that I have legitimately, I might go ahead and say others have had it too, because I want others to have had it. Otherwise, I'm alone. And being in my mind is a scary place. But look, we got plenty of questions from all sorts of other people. We didn't even have to make up these questions. That's how crazy these viewers are.
Dennis is not a real person. I made this up. One time my wife, I said something to her about having voices in her head, and she said, I don't have voices in my head. I said, did the voices tell you to say that? You see? You never know. Speaking of weird questions, Carol asked the question that neither of us is really qualified to answer. Why do some Latin people say things like, I'm going to guess UIFI is Wi-Fi instead of Wi-Fi? Being techie in this side of the world turns on my nerves when I listen to that pronunciation. So Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi, why? Either of you have anything on that?
I feel like we are all equally out of the loop on what's going on in Latin America and why they're mispronouncing this, but we should have the GIF argument instead. That's what...
Definitely GIF.
Yeah.
No! I don't know. I think everybody outside of here probably speaks Spanish and probably works for China. I'm pretty sure that's how international relations works. So, who knows?
I would guess it probably has something to do with the language and the way that they pronounce a consonant followed by
Is she doing another real answer right now?
Hey, if I make a borderline racist joke, okay, you roll with it, Shreya. Nicole Abood asks, this is such a bad idea. What advice would you give your 14-year-old Mike Nick self? It can be advice about anything. What jumps to mind is get your hand out of your pants. Nick, did you have something specific you would tell the 14-year-old version of Nick?
Focus on the computers. Spend more time with the computers and less time with people.
I don't like that advice.
What's that?
I really like the twist at the end. You were like, here's some good career advice, and then you ended with, people suck. I thought that was a really good, excellent pivot there. Shreya, you know the two of us well enough to know that we made a lot of bad life choices from 14 on. If you had it to do over again and could have slapped us in the face at 14 and told us to do something else, what would it have been?
I think that would create a wrinkle in the space-time continuum, and we would not be here today to even address this question. So I don't know that I would change a thing.
That's not how the time heist works. Yeah, that's true. You could have told us something and it would have avoided this whole moment, and for some reason you think, therefore, that shouldn't have happened.
What would a 14-year-old Shreya tell, what would now Shreya tell the 14-year-old Shreya? Stay away from the white men?
Don't go on Ask Twinsies.
Do more drugs? I don't know.
Do more drugs.
14-year-old, she'd be like, Shreya, there's going to be a thing called Ask Twinsies. No, there's not. No, seriously. It's going to be two white dudes, bald on a Sunday night, talking to themselves on a Facebook Live. No way. And your 14-year-old self would be like, I'm not even writing this down. This is the dumbest piece of advice I've ever heard. So
don't move to the woods.
Don't ride wheelchairs there. Ryan McKean asks, this gets deep, okay? This gets real deep. Why is Nick always wrong and Aaron Levine always right?
It's an outrageous question, and I don't like the premise. Erin's been right about one thing in her entire life, and that's how to approach divorce with this more empathetic, kind of loving, kind of, it grosses me out. And that's the one thing she's been right about in her whole life. I think the entire premise of the question is just pure crap.
I think she's smarter.
Yeah, we both disagree. Yeah. We both think your answer was stupid.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was coming. This show was more fun when it was just one against one.
Continuing with the theme, Ryan, we verify Nick is an idiot. So, Steven asks the question that this causes a lot of conflict on the socials. He asks, is a hot dog a sandwich? Shreya?
I disagree. A hot dog is not a sandwich because the bread is still attached. And I just feel like the filling doesn't constitute sandwich. I just don't
attached like a corn dog?
No, the bread
is
one piece of bread, not the two slices of bread.
I thought you meant attach the meat. Okay. Yeah, maybe corn dogs are a new
idiot
category.
Thing we just went over with me, and now you were thinking attached to the meat?
I like pictures.
Jeez.
I gotta have visual aids. All right, good argument. The bread's attached. Nick, give me the counter.
I don't have a good counter to this. We're not chopping up hot dogs to put it on two slices of bread. I'm really in the Shreya camp on this one. That it does not feel like, if we might do sliced salami or sliced pepperoni on a sandwich, but we're not doing sliced hot dogs. So I just don't see the hot dog as a sandwich.
So until you guys go to the grocery store and say, no, I want it to be a 2, like real thin slice, I like to put my
thin
hot dog.
Slice hot
no,
dog.
that's a 3. Okay, you set it to a 3, put it to a 2, and I'll put that on my set. Then you know it's a sandwich. Yeah,
I think it also requires 2 disparate pieces of bread.
Oh, look at, she used the word disparate.
She's really stuck on this bread situation.
I am.
I really do want a corn dog now. I'm not making that up. Barry asked the question. I need some advice. He says, I have a song stuck in my head. How can I make this stop? If it matters, the song is Don't Worry, Be Happy, which is nice, but I want it out already. Shreya, when you hear a terrible song, what do you do to burn it out of your consciousness?
I listen to another terrible song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was reading about.
Then what about the cycle there?
It's just like an endless loop of terrible songs.
Yeah, I was reading about a stop smoking program where, like, before you feel the need to taste the cigarette, drink some grapefruit juice because that'll shock you because it's a really different taste than what you're used to. So I was thinking, like, similarly, you could put in shark, baby shark, do. Baby shark, do.
Are you trying to put that in our minds right now, or are you going to ruin?
And then the other song would go away, do.
Or this is the song that never ends. It just goes on and on. My friends.
Damn it! Now that song's in my head. This experiment sucks. She's never coming back. All right, the Corvum guys Ask, and I don't know which of the Corvum guys this was, so, forgive me, fellas.
There's two of them.
If there was an Ask Twinsies movie, which actor would play you, Nick, and which actor would play me, and what genre of movie would it be? Nick, is there a person you've been likened to physically in the past?
Yeah, I think just given the strong jawline, it's probably a Robert Pattinson right now, and yeah, I wish you guys could have seen both your faces for that one.
Oh my gosh, Shreya, can you fix this?
I think at least one of you might be played by like a Zach Galifianakis.
He's not that fat, okay? As he says on Between Two Ferns, I'm not that fat!
I never said that he was.
So A, the answer is the guy from MASH, but that's only if I'm shaven, the dude that's bald that I can't remember his name. But B, when my wife and I met, we dated for a short time, and her sister, who was like 14 or 15 at the time, called and got on the phone with me, and she asked me, "What do you look like?" And I was like, "Have you ever seen Brad Pitt in that movie Seven? Do you know who Brad Pitt is?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh, yeah. Like Brad Pitt." And then she met me in real life, and it was such a face of disappointment. So the answer is Brad Pitt would play me. That's the answer. In pop culture references, Jessica asked, did you cry at the end of Rise of Skywalker when Rey said, "I'm Rey Skywalker"? Or was that just me? Speaking of crying, what's the best way to chop onions without crying? Nick, any feelings on Skywalker/Onions?
I don't think that I've watched that one yet, and I'm not big on movie crying, except for naturally The Notebook, Mike. And in the cutting of the onion, again, I'm a man. I don't cry when I cut onions.
What do you want? What do you want? Shreya, what do you do about Onions/Skywalker films?
I did not cry at the end of Rise of
Skywalker.
Well, I didn't cry at that part, at least. It didn't impact me that much.
Would you cry at the beginning? Were you like just sad?
Well, I don't want to ruin it for you, but somebody dies, and like at that point, I was just like, oh, redemption. Anyway, as far as the onions, I use snowboard goggles. An old pair of snowboard goggles while I cut onions.
Gosh, I
just like close my eyes and cut the onions and hope I don't cut my finger off while tears stream down my face.
I like the closing the eyes and just kind of tempting fate with the fingers.
Yeah.
That's terrible advice. I cried throughout the entirety of The Rise of Skywalker because that movie was terrible, and I'm not ashamed to tell you. I cried the whole time.
I will say this,
yes.
Mike, I did do some actual research on the onion thing, and there are a variety of solutions, and one of them is the goggles. I think now that we're in COVID, you should do goggles and the mask just to make it look really cool.
And gloves and stay away from people. Jordan said, put the onions in the freezer, on the freezers, he said. I don't even know what that means. Jordan's doing English as a second language. Put the onions in
I have tried all of those things.
In the freezer for 15 minutes before you cut them, then breathe through your mouth while you cut. This is the illusion of control, is what this is. This doesn't do jack crap, but it gives you the feeling that you've done something.
Well, what Jordan Couch is saying we should point out here is, and he is a mouth breather most of the time. We need to make that apparent. So breathing through the mouth just while you're doing the onions, I don't know.
He does it while he talks to people and makes friends. Kevin at Instant Law Loan asks, what is the last normal photo in your camera roll? Now, this is a visual medium, but we don't have the ability, I think, to share each other's phones, so you guys will have to describe last normal photo. If it's sexting Nick, I don't want to know.
But is that normal?
Yeah, would that be abnormal?
It's really normal for him. Trust me, as somebody on his friends list, it's normal.
I get approvals from Mike before I send them out.
I just threw up in my mouth a little. Sorry, I don't even know what the line for when it was normal is. So you guys tell me any cool photos. I don't know. Go back as far as you want, I guess. I don't know. What's normal?
Yeah, that's the biggest question. What is a normal photo? Like just, oh, hey, look, I found this flower by the side of the road, or I'm out by the river and I took a photo. What is normal?
Yeah, if I took a picture of a dead body, but it was pre-March, does that make it normal? You know what I mean? Just because there was no COVID.
Is the body in a ditch?
I'm going to show you guys what was actually. Now, you two will have to go back and look this up on the video later. This is an actual photo that is in my. I looked back to find which photo this is the picture. It is Mark Homer's book, From the Dorm Room to the Boardroom. If you know Mark Homer, he's like super professional, buttoned up, sweet guy. This is hilarious because it looks like a guru shot of him in a suit leaning up against, it's a desk, but it looks like one of those pictures in front of a Ferrari. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious, and I encourage you guys to go back and watch that. But I don't know if I ever had normal photos. That was my issue.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen, this is going to be a big old picture that's going to take up a lot of room. Kristen asks the question, do you side with Warren or Sanders on this important issue? The issue is ketamine. Warren says ketamine is for horses. Bernie says humans can have a little ketamine. Strong feelings about horse medicines.
I feel like humans can have a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, humans already do take ketamine for fun, and there's actually an entire subgenre of music devoted to people on ketamine trips.
I feel like we only have that answer because she's from Seattle.
You lead a much darker life than I realized. I just have to point that out.
People go down these K-holes when they take ketamine, and then I don't know what happens, but
I legitimately thought we were bringing you on to be the adult. This is so disappointing. Shelly asked the question, does my dog need a puppy? Shreya, are you dog? I already know where Nick stands on this. Are you dog people?
We are dog people. We don't currently have a dog, although our property has a dog that hangs out at it. It's like a farm dog.
Oh.
A farm dog that comes around. Yeah.
I was guys, she doesn't live in the city, and there's like a wild dog all mangy, and she's like, hey, buddy, you want some beef jerky? She's not doing that.
Yeah.
No, but you guys don't have a dog. Nick, does Shelly's dog need a puppy? How would you advise Shelly to make
Absolutely. It's another dog in the house.
Yeah, this feels like she's trying to pull us into like a spouse argument, and I don't like that feeling.
Yeah, it does.
But the answer is yes.
And I like that she's saying that her dog needs the puppy, which is she needs the puppy, but we'll pretend that it's for the dog.
Shelly, it's okay to be lonely.
The answer is always yes.
We know you're lonely. We understand. Spencer asks the question, a lot of our viewers are law firm owners, and they're trying to figure out, should I focus on building IT, or because my office is empty, should I do a full renovation and completely redecorate it like an HGTV show because I'm lonely and trying to fill an emotional hole? I might have added some commentary on that to make it more personal and autobiographical. Shreya, are you painting things?
No, but I have zero artistic talent.
Wait, what's all the stuff behind you?
Somebody else's art. So we're renting this place, and they left all of their art up on the walls. The guy who owns it is an artist, and his wife is an architect, and so they left all their artwork up.
She's failed to understand the whole idea of the show is just to lie as much as you that is your art. Shreya.
Are you getting a whole homicidal vibe, though? Like, she takes other people's art. She takes their dogs. Like, I feel like this is an after-school special where she killed a whole family and just slid right into their life.
Italy.
Yeah.
They're international travelers. back at any time. All right, for our last question, I want to pull this one up from Sean. If I tweet in a forest of Twitterers, does it make a sound? On this question of you tweet things and nobody gives a shit, Nick, what do you do?
Yeah. I've never had that issue, Mike. Everybody pays great attention to every tweet I've ever tweeted, but really, Sean just needs to turn on his notifications if he wants to get sound.
Oh, that feels like that could be so sad. Like if you don't get if it never dings, you know what I mean?
That would be my life. No one pays attention to me on Twitter.
Yeah, nobody really cares. Hey, listen.
They will now because you're part of the Ask Twinsies team.
That's right. Any asshole could have a Twitter account.
Why was that brown girl on Ask Twinsies?
Yeah.
Get her off.
The reason she was here is because we're not racist. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Remember to post more Ask Twinsies questions for next week. Nick and I and some other minority will join us to shield us against criticisms. You guys have a good night. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.